What's happening, guys? It's Jet Tila.
And Ali Tila.
And we are so stoked to be cooking with you today.
Today we're going to be making scallops and a filet mignon with a mushroom cream sauce. It's the perfect dish that's a great surf and turf for you to make with your partner at home.
Absolutely. It really is one of those dishes that looks super fancy. You get a lot of street cred and chef cred, but it's very simple. We're going to show you how to perfectly fire filet mignons in a super hot cast iron pan. We're going to tie that together with a very versatile mushroom cream sauce that ties into everything. And Ali and I are going to show you how to perfectly sear scallops and get that beautiful crust.
And then we're going to finish it off with some asparagus, which is excellent because it's elegant and yet it's quick and easy. So before we get started, we're going to make sure that our oven is preheated to 375 and that we have a plate lined with paper towels. So let's get cooking.
This series of dishes might feel daunting, but it's really not that hard. Break it down to the sum of its parts. I'm going to start with the mushrooms. You've got the filet. All right, so...
Well, mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
How do you clean them? Because you can't just dunk them in water.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah, it's not good to run your mushrooms over water. So what I like to do is take a moist paper towel and basically just kind of rub the top of the mushrooms here and then just kind of rub any dirt off. And I'm always inspecting the actual stem of the mushroom, and if it's super woody, I just cut it off, right? And that can go into the compost. You could actually use it for stock if you're making stocks as well. And it's really, really simple. Mushrooms are super delicious. Do you like mushrooms?
I love mushrooms.
And I think it's polarizing though. Our kids are like, man, I don't like mushrooms. I think it's one of those ingredients that you grow to love, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like meaty. They have umami. I love the flavor.
I think you nailed it though. I think the reason why people don't like mushrooms is because people haven't had them cooked well, right?
People don't like mushrooms for all the reasons I like them.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so we're going to show you how to make cooked mushrooms well. Firstly, I'm going to slice them. So if you're kind of new to knife skills, what I do is, find that flat section, right? Like, that stem kind of makes it move around. If you kind of just flatten out the stem piece so the mushroom cap stays still, it makes it really easy. Another good tip is to make sure you're cutting the mushrooms into even pieces because even slicing means even cooking in the pan. And it's ritualistic for me. The pan is always preheated as I'm doing the work because I think the big problem is people don't heat their pans up enough. And when you don't heat your pans up enough, you're not going to have the sear that you require. Ali, do you want to throw some butter into that pan?
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm a butter and mushroom guy. I think olive oil is also delicious, but there's something about just really high quality butter that makes mushrooms sing, like really brings out the umami. So see this teamwork situation? The butter was starting to get a little hot. I just throw the mushrooms right in because a little bit of that brown butter situation I think tastes really delicious.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. That's right. They're gonna get sick and tired of hearing Team Tila all the time. Can I bug you for a little more butter?
Sure.
Here's how to cook mushrooms perfectly, right? First thing is the initial sear. You want to sear mushrooms just like Ali's gonna sear the steak. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just like we're gonna sear the scallops. That caramelization sears that surface area of the mushroom. And the second thing that's gonna happen is butter or the fat, be it butter or olive oil, is gonna help leach out the moisture because mushrooms have a lot of water. We're gonna take advantage of that. Ali's gonna throw in a decent amount of salt and pepper in here because this is the time to season mushrooms.
You ready?
Ready, sweetheart. Thank you very much. We're using kosher salt, by the way. Why, Ali? Why do you love kosher salt?
I like it because it's not as potent as table salt.
Right.
And then you don't over-season as much with kosher salt.
Did your parents use iodized salt when you were a kid?
Yeah, but then you put a little bit, and it's just way too much.
Agreed. And look, nothing wrong with iodized salt, but I do feel you get a lot more control with kosher salt. Okay,
See,
next.
that's what I meant.
But I know that's what you meant. I was just saying it again. All right, I'm taking a clove of garlic, and I'm going to show you how we like to distribute garlic. Another good tip is smashing garlic with your fingers and your knife is great, but this is called a planer, and using this planer, and look, the peel's even still on, so check it out. The peel is still on. this actually keeps your fingers from getting garlicky.
Well, are you worried about getting the peel in your mushrooms, though?
Not at all. Every single rustic culture, my Asian culture, the Italian teachers that I've had, you know, garlic peel is totally edible, believe it or not. And
Okay.
when it caramelizes, it works well. But here, check it out. In this instant, by using the planer, the garlic peel has protected my fingers, is not being grated in. And then here's where you see the garlic. That's perfect garlic paste right there. Boom, goes right in. And I really think that is a phenomenal way to get garlic flavor in.
Well, now you don't have to wash your hands 12 times because they smell like garlic.
Absolutely. We wash your hands and we touch raw meat, but you don't need to be washing your hands because, you know, because they smell like garlic all the time. Okay, check it out. Let's look inside the pan. The mushrooms have released their flavor, right? The mushrooms have released moisture.
What are you looking for here?
Here's what I'm looking for. Number one, browning of the mushrooms. They look beautifully caramelized. Number two, they have released their moisture. You deftly and strategically seasoned that liquid. No, truly, right? And then now that seasoning of garlic, salt, and pepper has gone back into the mushroom. And that's how you get a meaty and chewy mushroom. And chewy is a good thing for a mushroom, and it smells phenomenal.
So you're bringing the liquid out and then you're absorbing it back in. Is that right?
Absolutely right. And I'm gonna bring another layer of flavor now. So I've got a nice kind of a dry white wine.
Oh.
This pan is bone dry, but there's a minute where bone dry becomes burnt. So I gotta be careful. Check it out, bone dry, just a little bit of white wine. And that's going to deglaze the pan, meaning it's going to pull all that flavor out of the pan.
So you're going to get all those delicious brown bits right back in your sauce.
En français, we call that fond.
Oh,
I know, it's
fancy.
too fancy.
You're so fancy
Yeah,
on date
exactly.
night.
So in French, we call that fond. Anything that sticks to the pan, which you're going to get to, we're going to pull out to a sauce. So I'm in a good place right now. I'm going to let the wine reabsorb, and we can kind of hold. One thing we want you to learn from these date night classes is how to time things too, because you're cooking 4 dishes, but it's important that when it's time to eat dinner, every dish is at that perfect pace. So you're gonna kind of learn how restaurant chefs time dinner. So I'm in a good spot, Ali. Take it away.
Great. Should we start on our steaks here?
Heck yeah, and I'm
All
here to
right.
support you if you need anything.
Thank you so much. For the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the pan because I want it really hot so I can get a good sear on these fillets. So I'm going to get that going.
And is there a
Like
kind of pan that you're using right there?
I'm using a cast iron.
Okay.
I'm just a big fan. So about medium-high heat. I'm going to let that heat up for like 2 to 3 minutes. But while I'm heating that up, I'm going to season these steaks. And the first thing we're going to want to do with our steaks is to pat them dry. Because we want them really dry to get a good sear on them.
Absolutely. So cast iron.
Is that right?
Yeah. Number one, cast iron of all the pans is going to hold heat the best. Number two, you're genius because moisture and hot pans are the enemy. So you're patting it dry to get the driest possible piece of filet, and also that's going to make the beautiful crust. I'm going to put a little bit of thyme leaves in my mushrooms as they start to finish. So.
Great.
Why'd you
So I'm noticing that the fillets are tied. And is this your handiwork here?
Yeah. Here's more restaurant tips for you. More chef tips for you. As you're cooking, I'll talk about the filet. The filet or the tenderloin is the piece of beef that moves the least. It's on the back here, right? And it's a long chain. It actually tapers. There's a thick piece and it tapers down to a thinner piece. Now, there's only like 25% or 30% of this fillet or this chain that is perfectly put together, that has no connective tissue through it. So as you get down to the
So
part of the
good.
chain, we chefs know how to hack the steaks to make them all beautiful little rounds like that. So if you get a piece of filet and it's not perfectly compacted and round, take that piece of twine, tie it around the middle, cinch it really tight, and just do 2 overhand knots, and you've just made perfectly $30 fillets. So that's all that's going on in there.
You do love me. You
God,
tie your
of course I
tie
love
my
you.
steaks. My piece of relationship advice is find someone who loves you enough to tie your steaks.
That's right. And you know what? You get a lot of butcher cred that way.
So we've made a rub for our fillets, and we're using sugar, salt, and a little bit of pepper. And the secret, the Tila trick here, is to use sugar in your rub because that's going to beautifully caramelize the steaks.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever made caramel, it's basically just sugar in a pan. We're taking advantage of that and getting this gorgeously brown crust. And very controversial, by the way, but I'm standing by it. 30 years in the kitchen, it's always worked for me. So, you know what I mean? Don't at me, family, all right? Because it will work, and it's worked for a long time.
So we're seasoning our steaks. You want to put a lot of the rub on it. They can take it. They can take it. And because we're using kosher salt, it's bigger flake and it's not going to absorb into the steaks as much, but you're going to get a great crust.
May I
Thank
assist?
you. Please.
There you go. I love how you're using a sheet pan with parchment and you're using tongs. So you're not kind of doing that, oh, I've got raw meat on my fingers and I'm going for it. So,
well, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to wash my hands like every 3 minutes. So yeah, use your tongs.
I think you're smart. I think that's called working smarter, not harder. So. All right, your pan is hot. This is what we're looking for. You see a raw cast iron pan is just smoking slightly on its own, and that's looking amazing right there.
Right, but we're not gonna put our oil in the pan because it's so hot. We don't want a grease fire, so we're gonna make sure that our steaks aren't sticking by drizzling a little bit of oil on the steaks themselves.
You're fancy. You're so fancy.
So here we go, a little bit of oil.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you can actually do one of these too. Like use the parchment paper to get some oil. Use the parchment paper to get a little more oil. There
That's
you go.
genius.
And while you're doing that,
I learn something every day from Jet Tila.
Yeah, let's get one, and you'll sear, and then I'll finish off my cream sauce. How's
all right.
that
So
sound?
is that enough on this?
That's
side?
beautiful.
Okay.
That looks great.
All right. So here we go. We're all ready.
Oh.
Let's sear some steaks. Okay. Now, how many sides do we need for presentation?
Quiz, how many sides of food do you see looking back at you on a plate? Is it 1, 2, or 3? What is it?
1.
1, absolutely. So why do you ask that question?
Well, because you only really need one good side. So if you mess up one side, it's okay.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good tip. Your job as a cook or a chef is to absolutely nail one presentation side. So Ali, you've got 2 opportunities. Here's the point. Don't rush to turn this steak over, right? It's not about a 50-50 cook situation. You're gonna put this in the oven, which means the oven's gonna cook it through to the middle. So your job right now is just to get 1 to 2 gorgeous sides, and then you can pick later as we plate which side you wanna go.
And it shouldn't take long, like 1 to 2 minutes, right? Because our pan's pretty hot.
And the nice thing is you can peek, right? Why don't you have our show our friends how you peek?
All right, we're just gonna take a little peek under here.
Oh,
What do you think?
Almost, yeah, but flip it out. Let's show them.
What do you think?
So almost, that looks good for most, but you know, we're going to show them how to go all the way. So,
Oh,
yeah.
you like to live on the edge.
I do like to live on the edge, absolutely. Okay, as you're doing that, as your steaks are searing, I'm going to finish my mushroom cream sauce, team. As you remember, the last thing I put in this pan was the wine. The wine has absorbed almost all the way. French term would be au sec versus demi-sec when the liquid's reduced in the pan. So now I'm going to finish making the sauce, which is very, very simple. I've taken advantage of all those delicious bits on the pan. The pan is just about bone dry. I'm going to add some liquid now. Chicken stock. I'm using chicken stock that I bought out of the box, which is totally fine. You've taken the time to really use all these other great ingredients. It's going to be fine to use chicken stock. That looks gorgeous,
Nice.
Ali. Turn that over. Look at that. Done. Okay, so I've got chicken stock in here. Now, I'm thinking, how much cream sauce do I actually need? I need enough for 2 fillets to get 2 really nice portions. So that's a good amount in there. And I'm also going to back that up with heavy cream. Now, I know some of you are like, oh my God, that's so many calories.
It's so good, though.
It's date night, man. This is the time to just kind of go all out. So I'm going to put a bit of heavy cream in there.
Oh, yum.
And then, of course, season every layer, right? Salt and pepper.
Right. And while you're doing that, I'm going to add some garlic and some nice herbs to
Beautiful.
our steaks, right?
Excellent.
And again, you're just going to smash the garlic. You don't have to peel it. So, I mean, I'm into less work all day long. Yeah, okay. So I have some nice sprigs of rosemary I'm going to add in here and a little bit of thyme. And then I think these are ready to throw into our 375 oven.
Lovely. Wow, look at that. That looks super cool. All right, so this is gonna reduce 5 to 10 minutes until thick. I'm gonna give you a really quick chef note on what's happening in Ali's gorgeous pan here. In the restaurant world, when you order a filet, all right, and you're gonna have first course, second course, third course, you can actually hold right here. You could literally pull a towel, put it off to the side, and about 10 to 15 minutes, if you know you're not gonna be eating for a while, you can hold this and then finish it in the oven then. But you know what, we're moving pretty quickly here, so I think this is a good time. Also cast iron. Here you go, honey.
Thank you so much.
Super hot.
Are we ready?
You got it. Let me get out of your way.
All right, these are gonna go right in the oven.
Remember, kitchen talk. As your date night cooking, communicate. Say sharps if there's a knife around. Say hot behind if you're coming behind someone with something hot. But that's gorgeous. 375 and 375 for
375, about 6 to 10 minutes.
And that means medium rare because we're medium rare people.
Yeah.
If you're not medium rare people, we won't judge you, right? If you're not a medium rare person,
No judgment.
No judgment at all. But the only way to know that you've nailed temperature is a thermometer. 125 to 130 degrees, internal temp of that steak is going to rest into a medium rare. Every 10 degrees is a doneness. So 125 means medium rare, 135 is medium, 145 is well. Makes me cry a little inside, but hey, it's okay.
So what's going on with your cream sauce over here?
All I'm doing, I'm in a restaurant hold, meaning, right, I'm basically waiting until we're about to pull together. The cream is gonna reduce, the stock is gonna reduce, and I'm really just looking for it to coat the food.
Perfect.
And in French, we call that nappe. Like, you nap a sauce over and it sits on the top. If it soaks through, it's too thin, but if it sits on top, that's the right consistency. So that's all I'm holding for. I'm gonna get you a pan for your asparagus.
Should we get started on that?
Absolutely. I'm heating your pan for you, by the way.
Excellent, thank you.
Right? That should be muscle memory. Like, before I cook anything, the first thing I do is heat the pan.
Yeah, well, you don't want to ever put any oil in a cold pan, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. So, all right. Do you have to snap asparagus, and where do you snap an asparagus?
Well, asparagus have, at the ends, a really woody part that you're not going to want to eat. So you have to find the woody part and then cut that off.
Yeah, so how do we do it? Where do we know?
Well, you see where it snaps, right?
Yeah, one finger on the end. We can do it together,
Here,
actually.
professional.
This is
I need a
date. This is
professional.
date cooking snapping. First, I'm looking at the asparagus, and I'm looking to see where the ends are actually turning purple, which means that's probably going to be really tough.
Well, I don't have any purple here.
So that means you're good. They really cut it deeper on this one. Hold the end, okay? Hold the middle and literally bend.
Bend it till it breaks?
Bend it till it breaks. And then you could take about 2 of them and be like, you could take the average. So
okay, so we just need to cut about that place.
That's
you
what
don't
I
have
do.
to go through and break each one.
Absolutely. Some people don't like this. Like, if you're very particular about how things are cut, you don't like jagged edges.
Are you talking about me right
I'm
now?
not saying anything at all.
about
I
me?
love you, babe. What are you talking about? You're perfect. So now you can find where to actually cut them to even out those ends.
Great. We'll get going on that.
So asparagus. I think the number one faux pas that people actually make is they overcook vegetables. Okay, and what I look for is you can tell a raw vegetable like a green bean or an asparagus is going to be opaque. It's got a beautiful color, but it's opaque, meaning it's solid. Really aggressive cooking is the key, and then just until you see how this. I don't know if the camera's going to catch this, but I'm looking at how rigid the asparagus is, okay, right now as it's raw. And I'm seeing where it doesn't really flex, okay? As this thing gets tortured under heat.
Gets tortured.
It's in the best way.
You always say torture your vegetables,
I do.
right?
You have to torture your vegetables to make them delicious.
And let me tell you, your tortured vegetables are some of the best I've ever tasted.
Well,
Thank you.
But we're going to show them how to do it. We're going to
Is
show
that what
our
you were
friends.
looking for?
Yeah, no, I was trying to help you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, this mushroom cream sauce is coming down. Ali's pan is nice and hot. And that looks great. That looks perfect.
So our pan is nice and hot. Okay, we're gonna add some olive oil to the pan. And then we're gonna put in our asparagus.
And you can always be ready. If your pans are smoking hot, just get your items in there faster.
Yeah.
Right? Don't play that game of, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot. That's perfect. White smoke.
All right.
Look at that. Can I assist you?
Of course.
Excellent.
right, so we're gonna cook these for about 30 seconds. And while I'm cooking the, you're way ahead of me.
I got you.
You read my mind.
Of course.
This is why we're married.
There you go. I'll watch these if you want to get your garlic going.
Great, thank you.
Now, it's crucial to get a really, really hot sear on the asparagus. And because they're super thin, you know, they'll tend to burn pretty quickly. But that doesn't happen if you keep them moving, okay? I'm going to do a steak check.
Okay.
Right? I think we should show our friends how to temp a steak. So,
Perfect.
hot, open oven, everybody, open oven. And yeah, I don't want you know what? This is fine. You keep
Great.
going. And so again, Ali, why don't you try the flop test? So grab that tong.
Okay.
And then see if it starts to bend more in the middle yet. Not yet. So you're almost there.
All right, so keep
All right.
cooking.
So keep that cooking.
This should be about 30 seconds to a minute, you think?
It all depends. These are a little bigger spears. I'm looking for a really nice even sear, which I think we can go more. Right? I'm looking for a good sear all the way around.
And just keep them moving,
And
right?
just keep it moving. That's really it. So friends, I'm going to show you how to temp your steaks, right? Because you went out and you spent a ton of money on these fillets. Let's make sure we're getting the temp. Better to check periodically than to over nail that temperature. So getting into the center of the steak.
How are we looking?
It's about 114, 115, and remember the goal is 125, so we can give it a few more minutes, but we're darn close because we still have to carry over. All right, so I'm gonna actually temp both and go to the center of the center, but we are very, very close. We have an even 114 on both, so I'm gonna go for another probably 4 minutes or so. But that's how to play, guys. It's not difficult if you know the fundamentals. All right, Ali, that looks good right there.
I think we're ready.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna do the same garlic trick with our microplane. And just give this a nice coating of garlic on top. 1 clove.
There you go. Beautiful. You can also lean it there. There you go. Leverage. Very nice.
Just watch your hot pan.
So this technique of olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, and lemon should work for any green vegetable that you love. This is a preferred way that we cook in the Tila house, not just for date night, but when we want to get a very quick vegetable dish out for our kids, exactly the same technique right there. That's awesome.
Like our kids eat vegetables.
You know, they're starting though, Al. I think they're starting with green beans. Leave that planer out too. That's perfect. Yeah, you're doing great. Just keep smashing.
Just keep grinding.
No, that's good. That's a huge garlic clove. That's perfect. Look at that. That's perfect. Let me pass the hand off.
Thank you.
Another layer of flavor is going to be lemon zest, okay? And that is just the part of the lemon that is yellow. As you go under, you get into the pith, which is bitter, but this is where all those amazing essential oils are, and you're using the same planer for that. As you can see, you get perfect zest that way. So we're gonna do the zest of 1 lemon, but we're gonna finish with just half the lemon in terms of juice. So
Perfect.
that looks phenomenal. I think we're gonna wanna plate that one because we don't want this one to overcook. So you wanna finish that with lemon juice?
Sure.
And then we'll put that on the plate. Nice. Perfect. And then you'll season that to finish.
Little salt.
Do I have salt? Do you have salt? I absolutely have salt.
You have the salt.
All right, little kosher salt.
Perfect.
Little cracked pepper. We'll give that a toss, and those are done. I mean, it really. This is how easy it is to get restaurant-style vegetables. That looks awesome.
Oh.
Yum! Look at that.
So good. You make vegetables delicious.
You just made that. You don't give me the credit. You just cooked that. That looks awesome. All right, it's also okay to come over the top with a little more zest for the plate up too. So
you gotta make it look pretty.
That's
for
right.
Date night.
Okay, I think let's do a check. I'm gonna want to grab the steak. Hot, hot, hot.
Super hot, coming in.
So another piece of kitchen talk is
hot,
hot
hot.
oven. There you go.
All right.
Clearing your way. Here's your thermometer, Ali, if you want to do a check there.
Perfect.
Before tenting. Oh, we still have to butter baste, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the time to butter baste.
Okay.
All right, let's check in with mushroom sauce as you're getting butter ready. All right, I'm sure you can see into this pan here overhead. It's gonna nappe beautifully over the dish. This is also an opportunity, right? When we have mushroom sauce on restaurants, we don't make each one to order, a la minute as we call it. We have this mushroom sauce that is like 90% ready, and what we'll do is just kind of finish it with a little bit of cream, chicken stock, and salt and pepper. And that's exactly where I'm at. So I'm holding mushroom sauce. We're holding asparagus at any point.
So why don't we baste these with some butter?
I love it.
And bring in some extra flavor to the steaks.
Go for it. Looks phenomenal.
So this is my favorite part of these steaks, is basting them with some butter, because butter is delicious.
Butter makes everything even more
It
delicious,
does.
doesn't it?
It does. So I'm gonna throw a big knob of butter in here and melt it.
That's for you.
Thank you.
You got
Thank
it.
you. I like this.
Yeah.
Tell everybody why you throw a towel on the handle of a pan.
Yeah, so go ahead. More kitchen
That's a
notes.
good tip.
Right? This cast iron's come out of the oven. In order to tell anyone in the vicinity, tonight it's date night. It's just Ali and myself. But if the kids are here, if you put a towel over a handle or anywhere someone's going to grab, that's going to signify that this thing is hot. Don't touch it. So you train your family that way, and then you all of a sudden have like an army of chefs running around. Behind, hot oven, hot, coming through.
Corner.
Yeah, corner, exactly.
All right, so we're just waiting for it to melt, and then we're gonna baste the steaks with the melted butter.
All right, I think I'm going to start on scallops then, if that works for you. Cool. Can I move you over to one?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's cook together over here. Hot pan.
Perfect.
Hot behind you.
Thank you.
You very much. Okay. Beautiful. You got that?
You think about orange.
Okay. Ali is basting the fillets to get all the herb flavor onto the fillet. It also helps get more color. It also just makes it more succulent. So
good.
And then she's gonna rest it there. Can we talk scallops really quick?
Let's talk scallops.
Okay. So some rules of the road. You go and you buy scallops. First thing is going to be sizing. These are jumbos, all right? And another way to signify jumbo is usually a U, the letter U, and then the count, okay? Meaning, so per pound, how many scallops are gonna make up a pound? And for these, if these are about 2 to 3 ounces a piece, they're 16 ounces, so these are probably like a 5 or 6. I just did a lot of math. If that's messing with your head, don't worry about it. But we like these jumbo scallops about 2 inches wide. Another thing you want to look for is the designation of either a wet scallop or a dry scallop. I want you to be buying dry scallops, and that means they haven't been held in any solution or liquid. These are basically what they call day boats. They've been picked off the sea, and they've been flown to you. So these are very, very fancy scallops. What do you got? What do you need there? You want me to give you foil?
Yeah, I'm gonna tent these steaks and just let them rest, because you always need to let your steaks rest before you cut them.
That's right. And rest.
So then that way the juices don't escape.
Yeah, think about the juices inside the steak right out of the oven, boiling, just like a pot of boiling water. They're aggressive, they want to expand, they want to move. If you cut that steak, you lose all that moisture. Ali's tented that, allowing the steaks to rest. That means the liquid in the steak is going to settle, come back into the middle. So when we cut into it and eat dinner, they are going to be super juicy.
What is the key to cooking a perfect scallop?
Yeah, just kind of like everything we've talked about in this phenomenal date night is very aggressive heat, and then understanding seasoning of your scallop and keeping everything super dry. We're gonna do one more layer of dry here, and I'm gonna show you what a dredge is. So first thing, get the right pan. Ali used a cast iron pan for the first steak to get a phenomenal sear. And if you don't have a cast iron pan, I'm gonna use anodized aluminum. I think that is also a really, really, really great choice. I have a little bit of rice flour here. Now, this doesn't have to be rice flour. This can be flour, this could be cornmeal, this could be cornstarch. I like rice flour for a few reasons. It's gluten-free, just because a lot of people are gluten-free, and I think it's a very fine powder, so it works quite well. So what I'm gonna do is season this. May I trouble you for some salt and pepper?
Absolutely.
Anodized aluminum means the actual core of the pan is aluminum, and then it's cladded with another surface that works like nonstick, but isn't going to flake off at very high temperatures. And that's why I love using anodized aluminum as well as cast iron pans. So in order to brown anything, you've learned by now, you want to make sure it's super dry. And the first step of getting these scallops crusted is getting them a nice pat dry. Single-use paper towels are a cook's best friend. We use them anytime we're cooking meat. I'll use them for the steaks. I'm going to use them for the scallops. So if you have any excess moisture, which these are actually really beautiful scallops, they don't.
They look gorgeous.
Yeah, they're gonna be great. So I'm gonna treat them with respect as they deserve. You know what I mean? Salt and pepper. And unlike the steak, you don't have to go crazy because there's a lot of natural deliciousness and sweetness. So I'm gonna go just a light dusting of both. Steaks can absorb a lot of salt. Seafood doesn't need that much salt. Then I'm gonna turn them over. And I already can tell in my periphery that this pan is getting hot. It's got that kind of smoky thing going on, so it's getting to where I want it. Okay, so in terms of oil, we've used olive oil for the vegetables. We are gonna use a canola oil for the scallops.
But why?
Because olive oil has a very low smoke point, and it tends to burn at a low temp. Canola oil is phenomenal because it doesn't burn until something like almost 500 degrees.
Wow.
So you have two choices. I can either oil the scallops or I can oil the pan. So what I'm going to do is just do a very light coating, and then I'm going to actually use my paper towel just to get coverage.
Smart.
And then here we go. I'm going to lay these in, and that's what I want to hear, the shh. Okay, so with a little bit of the oil down, I'm just going to give them a very light dredge in the flour.
And what will that do?
So what I'm doing is two things. Number one, I'm drying off every bit of moisture. And number two, I'm actually, that rice flour actually creates a crust. And that's gonna really help, so.
These look amazing.
Nice light coating, get them in. And again, I'm using the side of the pan to get heat from two sides there. And it's very light dusting. Let me give you one that's close. I think we're gonna track. So I'm gonna get dust, and if you notice, it's not a lot. It's just enough to build up a tiny little crust. Okay, let's think ahead here. Scallops are only gonna be just a few minutes, and so these are so fresh. I get to have a little sashimi on the side. Sorry about that. Well, it's just perfect. I'm not mad at that. Okay, so we're gonna monitor these scallops. Your steak is good. Our asparagus is good.
We're almost there.
We're almost there. So check out this pan of sauce. It is reduced a bit. You want to bring that back with just a touch of stock, a little bit of cream until it's pourable, and salt and pepper. Wow, these are good scallops. And in terms of a strategy point of view, when we do date nights like this and we have multiple courses, we're gonna get everything ready to eat. We're gonna group them, and then I'm gonna use this area like a pass in a kitchen, and we'll assemble dinner, pour some wine, and we'll be great to go.
So how far ahead can you make a mushroom cream sauce?
Let's talk about each component. How's that sound?
Yes.
Mushroom cream sauce, you can make that 2 hours ahead until the point where you just want to finalize it like you're doing over here. Yeah, and then the asparagus, I would say the asparagus and the scallops are the things you want to do right before you eat because they tend to get cold or what we call in the restaurant die. They get a little too limp, but this is perfect. You see that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So it has a lot of crunch to it. And then your steak, you could do probably about 20 minutes. It can rest a little bit, and you can always warm it up. So
Can I trouble you for salt and pepper?
absolutely. Here you go, love.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, let's start checking scallops now. And I'm trying to remember the order. So if I started at 12 o'clock, I'm going to start at 12 o'clock. And I'm okay to just check these. Oh, I'm getting there. I am getting there. That's beautiful. All right, these need just another second. And I'm doing a little turn on the end because remember, I'm getting heat from two sides. And I don't want them to overcook on one side. I want them to cook nice and evenly. How you doing, Ali?
Great.
That's
Does this
it right
pass
there.
the
You
jet
nailed
inspection?
it. You nailed it. Well, you know what? Here's another way you can tell if something's ready, team.
Your sauce should coat the back of the spoon, and then when you run your finger through it, it should make a line through the sauce that doesn't drip. So this looks good.
Yeah, it looks perfect, actually.
I think we've achieved nappe.
That's right, and you can always bring a sauce back. If you've over-reduced a sauce, you can always bring it back, right? You can always add a little more chicken stock and a little more cream, and you're good to go. You want to do a little more? I think we're ready to plate.
A little more.
Just a tiny bit more each, and then let's just get a little more volume. No problem.
Okay.
Beautiful. Here.
You want wine instead?
Yeah, no, just a little bit of cream, and we're good to go. Did you taste it?
I am about to taste it,
All right,
but I'm going
good.
to add a little bit more cream.
Because you have to taste your food before you serve it. I have turned these scallops over, and I'm taking them off heat because I don't want to overcook them. I think it's just about time to build our dinner. So I'm going to clear this station a little bit. All right, Ali, let's do a taste.
I'm going to taste. Do you want to taste it first?
No, I trust you. I absolutely trust you.
Good.
Yeah, good. We happy
Good.
there? Mm-hmm. All right. So
Really flavorful.
All right, so Chef Ali, sauce check, asparagus. Mm-hmm. We got the steaks ready to go. Let's show our friends kind of the finish of the steak then. So, oh, look at that.
Wow.
So they've rested. You see a little bit of the moisture there build up. We have two sides. Those look gorgeous. We have a little pan sauce as well.
I can't wait.
Those
I
look
cannot wait
All right,
to
let's
try
plate
that.
up. You guys, you ready to plate up?
I am.
All right. May I do the honors?
Please.
Okay, sounds good. How I like to set these up is if you have any kind of moisture buildup on the steaks, you want to take some scissors and then we'll clip the little
yes.
strings there before we go. I'm going to pull the scallops so they don't overcook. That's what I'm looking for. Look at that beautiful sear I got.
Yeah, I think we don't have.
No problem. I'm going to use a knife. You want to grab me a
Okay.
little paring knife? Beautiful. Yes.
Fine.
Perfect date knife. All right. The other thing you can do is you can get in this way.
I don't want to butcher it.
You're not going to butcher it. You didn't do anything. You can't mess this up. So by taking the twine, you have perfectly shaped fillets. And again, that's a really nice way to get a nice shape without having to buy like that super prime center cut fillet. And when you hear the word center cut, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the pieces that are already together. They're not the ends, but if you don't get the ends, now you know how to fix it. So, okay.
Perfect.
Shall we?
We shall.
Let's do it. All right. Another restaurant tip for plating for you is this. May I give this to you? Take a single-use clean paper towel, and you could actually do a little dab there. Do you want to do the dab? No, we're too. Oh, you did it! That is awesome. Wow. We'll do the little.
I can feel our kids' embarrassment, like,
oh my God. If they were
for
here,
miles right
forget
now.
about it. If they were here, they'd be like, seriously, Mom? Seriously, Dad? Oh.
they'd be like, "That's not how you do it."
Exactly. Okay, that's good. They're there. So let's line up.
If I dab you, you have to floss.
Oh my God, I couldn't even begin to. You're just bringing up now stories. When Allie was young, she took a lot of dance. So maybe in one of these classes we can get Allie to dance. So I have two left feet.
Why are you
so,
outing me?
Well, because you just.
If I have to dance, you have to dance with me.
There's no way. Our ratings would plummet because no one wants to see any of that. They'd rather see you dance. Okay, scallop time. I am really kind of the odd numbers because I think they draw your eye to the plate a little bit.
Those look beautiful.
Yeah, they're translucent. They bounce to the touch. That's exactly what you want. 3. You want to do 3? Let's do 3.
Yeah.
How's that
3's
sound?
perfect.
Yeah, I like that. And we'll just eat those as Scooby snacks later on.
You always have to have a little extra. You always need some snacks.
Oh, for sure. And then let's do the mushroom sauce over the top. I'll use a different spoon.
Here you go.
Thank you very much. Is that hot? There we go. And I'm gonna do that right over the steak because I think that's where that belongs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So mushroom sauce, again, if you're making chicken, if you're roasting any kind of protein, even if it's not, if you're doing a plant-based situation, mushroom sauce is really, really phenomenal. It's super versatile. All right. I think we are looking good. I think we need some wine. So in terms of beverages, we should talk about our preferences. What do you like in terms of wine?
I mean, with this, I like a red. You know, that would be my choice.
Yeah, we're gonna go Cabernet here today because scallops, you know, are seafood, and you would usually think white. But I think the dominating factor on the plate is going to be that mushroom cream sauce, which has a lot of umami, which is very earthy. And then the filet mignon definitely has a lot of kind of that iron flavor. So I think you need a big red. So we're going to go Cabernet. I think the other alternatives, though, are going to be Pinot Noir. And I think you could also probably do an Old World Pinot. You could do New World or Old World Pinot. And
I'm kind of partial to the Cab, though, because I feel like the tannins kind of cut through the richness of the mushroom cream sauce.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of contrast.
I want a bold Cab, but I don't want a super tannin Cab because we do have scallops to play with this as well. So, and this one is not too big of a Cab, and I think that's the way to go. And that's if you're wine. If you're not, then, you know, a beer. We drink beer with anything, so that's no problem. Dude, I mean,
we're ready.
Not difficult. I mean, I really think that a lot of people are super intimidated when they hear surf and turf, when they hear filet mignon, when they hear scallops. We really wanted to do this date night class to really show you that, you know what, this is a phenomenal date night as a set. But you can actually pull 4 different separate techniques from this class. And maybe one day you just need to get a vegetable on, that's your asparagus. One day you want to cook scallops, you know, that's your scallop. And if you want to nail a steak, you can apply any of these steak tips to any steak that you like. Your filet mignon.
I love filet, yeah. And look, I think that anybody that you're cooking for or with is going to be impressed by this dish.
Oh, for sure. Beautiful work, Ali. Cheers.
Likewise. Cheers.
Very, very nice. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going for it.
This is my favorite part, tasting.
It's a meal. I mean, it's really like...
Yeah, this is a serious date night.
It's like you get to hang out, you cook, you better have time for a nap after. I mean, it's real.
We have kids. There's no nap time.
You nailed the filet. It's beefy. That mushroom cream sauce comes over the top. It complements well. It really, you know, I think mushrooms and beef are a natural pair.
And the crust. Let's dig into your scallops here. I'm so excited to try that.
Warm middle of the scallop, nice and bouncy. Good stuff.
Oh.
Mission accomplished. What a fun date night.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you and to you. Thank you for taking our class with us. We had so much fun cooking with you, and we hope that you had a great time cooking with us.